Most people have been conditioned to believe that when life gets hard, it's a sign to back off, a sign that something's wrong, a signal that you should reconsider, turn around, slow down, or even give up. But that's a lie you've been sold by comfort, and comfort, while seductive, is a liar. It convinces you to stay where it's safe, where it's easy, where the risk is low and the reward is even lower. The truth is, hardship isn't a stop sign. It's a green light in disguise. It's the universe tapping you on the shoulder, whispering, "You're close. Keep going." The reason hardship feels like a wall is because most people don't understand its purpose. They mistake resistance for rejection, but in reality, resistance is feedback. When you feel the weight pressing down on you, it's not telling you to quit, it's telling you that you're in the arena. You're doing something that matters. Nobody ever felt pressure sitting on the sidelines. You only feel it when you're pushing towards something real. You don't grow in the easy. Nobody becomes exceptional by coasting. Think about anyone who's ever accomplished anything meaningful. They didn't float their way there. They crawled through the mud, they faced down storms, they kept walking when their legs wanted to buckle. Because somewhere along the way they learned the truth. Hardship isn't a blockade, it's a gateway. It's important to recognize the difference between discomfort and danger. Discomfort is your brain saying, "I don't know what comes next." Danger is your gut saying, "This could end you." Most people confuse the two. They feel discomfort and treat it like danger. They run from it. But discomfort is where change lives. It's the place where the old version of you starts to shed, and the stronger, sharper, bolder version begins to form. If you keep retreating every time discomfort shows up, you'll never get to meet the person you were meant to become. When something is hard, really hard, it doesn't mean you're on the wrong path. It often means you're exactly where you should be. Growth hurts, change hurts, learning new skills, facing your fears, stepping into leadership, walking away from toxic people. None of that is easy, but it's necessary. Hardship isn't there to break you. It's there to refine you. It's the fire that burns off the excuses, the laziness, the hesitation, the fear. What's left after the fire? Strength, focus, purpose. If your goals don't challenge you, then they can't change you. And if they don't change you, they won't elevate you. So when you hit that wall, when you feel tired, uncertain, overwhelmed, you have a choice. You can either believe that the wall is the end, or you can understand that it's part of the process. It's a rite of passage. You don't go around it. You go through it. And on the other side of that wall, that's where transformation begins. It's easy to take action when you feel inspired, when you're motivated, when things are going your way, but the real test is who you are when everything feels like it's working against you. That's the proving ground. That's when character gets built. People love the idea of greatness, but most aren't willing to pay the price. Because the price is struggle, the price is showing up when you don't feel ready. It's staying the course when every part of you wants to quit. You will be tested, not once, not twice, but again and again. And each time the test will ask you the same question: how bad do you want this? Your answer will never be in your words. It will be in your actions. Your response to hardship is your answer. If you turn back, you've answered. If you keep going, even when it's slow, even when it hurts, even when no one's watching, that's your answer too. Hardship doesn't mean stop. It doesn't mean quit. It doesn't mean this isn't meant for you. It means you're entering a level where most people give up. And that's exactly why you shouldn't. Growth is one of those words everyone loves to say, but few are willing to earn. Because real growth isn't about vision boards and motivational quotes. It's not about reading another book or watching another inspiring video. Real growth is forged in resistance. It's built in silence, in struggle, in sweat, in sacrifice. You don't become more by staying comfortable. You become more by moving through the very thing that pushes back against you. Think about how strength is built in the body. You don't gain muscle by lifting what's easy. You grow when the weight feels like too much, when your arms tremble, when your body wants to stop and you tell it, just one more rep. Resistance, applied consistently, is the only path to strength. Without it, the muscle doesn't tear. Without the tear, there's no rebuild. Without the rebuild, there's no gain. The same principle applies to life. Emotional strength, mental resilience, spiritual depth. None of that comes without resistance. Most people chase comfort and wonder why they feel stuck. They avoid difficulty and wonder why they don't feel fulfilled. It's because they haven't understood the simple, brutal truth. If you're not being stretched, you're not growing. If your life is too easy, it means you're not demanding more of yourself. And if you're not demanding more of yourself, you're not becoming who you could be. You can't evolve in a vacuum. You don't find courage sitting on a beach, sipping something sweet. You find it when you're staring down a moment that scares you and you step into it anyway. You don't learn perseverance by winning every time. You learn it when you lose and show up again. You don't build patience when everything moves your way. You build it in the waiting, in the delays, in the moments when nothing seems to be working, and you refuse to give up. Resistance is not your enemy. It's your trainer. It's the force that shows you where you're still soft, where you need to toughen up, where your excuses still have power over you. Every time you hit resistance, you are given a choice: shrink back or rise through. And every time you rise, you change the way you see yourself. You stop seeing limits. You stop settling. You begin to realize you are capable of far more than you ever gave yourself credit for. The problem is that we've been conditioned to seek ease. Technology, entertainment, modern culture, they all push us toward convenience, speed, shortcuts. But ease has never built warriors. It's never birthed visionaries. It's never carved leaders out of the ordinary. Those people, the ones who move the world forward, they are shaped in the moments when everything tells them to stop, and they go anyway, not because it's easy, not even because they're confident, but because they know this: nothing worth having comes without resistance. You will never unlock your full potential until you stop trying to avoid the grind, stop trying to skip the hard parts. The resistance is the workout, the tension is the training. You don't get strong by watching others do the work. You get strong when you step into your own struggle and stop looking for the exit. You start to realize that everything you've been avoiding, the hard conversation, the failed attempt, the rejection, the fear, is exactly where your next level lies. There's this illusion that growth should feel good, that if you're growing, you'll feel inspired, energized, proud. Sometimes you will, but more often than not, growth feels like frustration. It feels like confusion. It feels like hitting your limit and going beyond it. It feels like things breaking down before they break through, and that's the secret most people miss. Growth rarely feels like growth while it's happening. It often feels like loss, like chaos, like pain. But when the dust clears, you look back and realize you became something new, and that new version of you could only be born through resistance. Most people are obsessed with the goal. The title, the destination, the victory lap. They see the award on the shelf, the followers, the money, the recognition, and that becomes the thing they chase. But what they don't understand is that the goal is never the real prize. It never has been. The true reward is who you become on the way there. The process, not the product, is what transforms you. The process is where the real work happens. It's in the early mornings when no one's watching. It's in the late nights when you feel like quitting but keep going anyway. It's in the decisions you make when no one's around to hold you accountable. The process shapes your discipline, your focus, your resilience. It forces you to confront your limits, challenge your beliefs, and outgrow the version of yourself that started the journey. The goal might be what gets you started, but it's not what keeps you going. Because the truth is, goals are temporary. Once you reach them, they fade, they lose their shine, they sit on the shelf and collect dust. But the lessons you learn on the way, the habits you build, the mindset you develop, those stay with you long after the applause dies out. That's what builds a foundation that can't be shaken. That's what allows you to go after the next thing. Not because you're chasing validation, but because you know you're capable of more. Most people are in love with the idea of success, but not with the reality of the grind. They want the final scene without filming the movie. They want the trophy without playing the game. But that's not how greatness is built. You don't earn confidence from outcomes. You earn it through effort, through consistency, through showing up on the days when motivation is nowhere to be found. That's when character is formed, not when things are working, but when they're not, and you show up anyway. The process has a way of stripping you down. It removes your excuses. It humbles your ego. It forces you to get honest with yourself. You find out who you really are, not who you post online, not who you pretend to be in front of others, but the raw, unfiltered version. The one that faces rejection, failure, doubt, and still decides to move forward. That's where your real power lies. That's where the transformation begins. You start the process thinking you want one thing, but along the way, you discover what you actually need. You thought you wanted success, but you needed patience. You thought you were chasing money, but you found purpose. You thought it was about proving others wrong, but it became about proving yourself right. That shift doesn't happen by accident. It happens when you commit to the process long enough to let it do its work on you. There will be days when the goal feels far away, days when progress is invisible, days when it seems like nothing's changing, but the process is always doing something even when you can't see it. It's planting seeds, it's testing your endurance, it's shaping your mindset. Growth doesn't always look like movement. Sometimes it looks like stillness, like patience, like fighting the same battle over and over until you learn the lesson you've been avoiding. And the beauty of the process is that it doesn't just prepare you to reach your goal. It prepares you to handle it once you get there. Because reaching the top without the strength to stay, there is a setup for a fall. The process gives you roots. It gives you the kind of stability that isn't swayed by praise or shaken by failure. It turns ambition into identity. It makes success sustainable, not just attainable. The process is messy, it's frustrating, it's lonely, but it's also where the magic happens. Not the kind of magic that appears in an instant, but the kind that builds brick by brick, day by day, quietly, relentlessly, and by the time you arrive at the goal, you realize the goal isn't what matters most. You've already won, because who you became on the way, there is someone who didn't exist when you started. One of the biggest lies people believe is that they need to have everything figured out before they begin. That they need the perfect plan, the right time, the exact strategy, the guaranteed outcome before they can make a move. So they wait, they overthink, they analyze every possibility, rehearse every scenario, and stall their own progress in the name of preparation. What they don't realize is that action, imperfect, messy, uncertain action, is the only thing that ever moves anything forward. Perfection is a trap. It's a delay mechanism dressed up as ambition. It convinces people they're being smart by holding off, but really, it's fear wearing a mask. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of not being good enough. So instead of trying and risking a mistake, people hide behind planning. They build beautiful strategies that never get executed. They collect tools they never use. They wait for clarity that never fully comes. And while they wait, someone else, less prepared but more courageous, takes the shot and moves ahead. Clarity doesn't come from thinking. It comes from doing. You can sit in a room for days trying to figure out the best way forward, and still come up empty. But take one step and everything begins to shift. You start learning, you start adapting, you start seeing things you couldn't have predicted from the sidelines. Action gives you feedback, it gives you data, it tells you what works, what doesn't, what to fix, what to keep. That kind of insight can't be found in theory, it's only discovered in motion. Most breakthroughs don't come from knowing what to do. They come from doing what you can with what you have and adjusting as you go. The people who succeed are not the ones who wait for the stars to align. They're the ones who start underprepared, underqualified, and uncertain, but move anyway. They try, they fail, they get up and they learn. The process refines them. The mistakes teach them. And because they're willing to move while others are still waiting, they get further, faster. There's nothing wrong with wanting to do things well. Excellence matters, but perfectionism is not the same as excellence. One pushes you to improve, the other keeps you frozen. You will never be fully ready. The timing will never be flawless. The path will never be free of risk. If you wait for everything to feel safe, you'll spend your whole life on the starting line. Progress belongs to the people who act while others hesitate. The winners aren't always the smartest. They're the boldest. Taking imperfect action doesn't mean being reckless. It means understanding that forward momentum matters more than flawless execution. You can course correct along the way. You can refine as you go. You can fix what breaks, learn from what fails, and build something better from the pieces. But none of that happens if you don't take the first step. Fear will try to convince you that starting small is a waste of time. That if it's not big, if it's not perfect, it's not worth it. But all big things started small. All masterpieces began as messy drafts. All experts were beginners once. You won't gain confidence by waiting. You gain confidence by doing. Every time you act, even if it's clumsy, you train your brain to trust yourself. You stop being a spectator in your own life. You start creating results instead of just imagining them. You build momentum, and momentum creates clarity. It's not about rushing blindly. It's about refusing to stay stuck. People talk about fear of failure like it's the enemy, but the real enemy is inaction. Failure at least moves you forward. Inaction keeps you exactly where you are, stuck in the same loop with the same regrets, watching others live the life you were too cautious to claim. The truth is, the longer you wait, the heavier the fear gets. The more you hesitate, the more power doubt has. But when you move, even in small, uncertain ways, you take that power back. No one ever reaches the top with a clean record. They get there with scars, with lessons, with bruises from trying things that didn't work. The difference is, they were willing to move while it was messy. They didn't let imperfect conditions become permanent excuses. They stepped forward, even with shaky legs and blurry vision, and trusted that they would find the path by walking it. There's a strange belief that if something is meant for you, it should feel easy. That the right path will come with smooth roads, minimal obstacles, and clear skies. That if it's truly your calling, you won't feel resistance, doubt, fear, or struggle. But the truth is the opposite. The things that matter most, the things that have the power to shape your life, scare you for a reason, because they carry weight. They demand more from you, and fear isn't a sign you should stop. It's a signal that you're on the edge of something important. Fear shows up when you stand face with potential. It appears when the outcome matters, when the stakes are high, when you know that moving forward will stretch you in ways you've never been stretched before. People think fear means danger, but often fear simply means growth. It means you're about to break through a version of yourself you've outgrown. You're about to enter unfamiliar territory, and unfamiliar is always uncomfortable. The fear doesn't mean you're weak. It doesn't mean you're unprepared. It means you're human, and you're stepping into something that's going to require more of you. That fear is part of the calling, because if it didn't ask for more, it wouldn't lead to more. You can't expect to become extraordinary by only doing what feels safe. Safety is for survival. Challenge is for evolution. Your calling isn't supposed to be convenient. It's supposed to stretch you. That's how it proves itself. That's how it tests your commitment. The challenge isn't there to push you away from your path. It's the proof that you're standing on it. Everyone says they want more, but the moment pressure shows up, many start to back off. They think if this were meant for me, it wouldn't be this hard. But that's backwards. It's hard because it's meant for you, because this is the level where your next self is waiting. It's not hard to stop you. It's hard to prepare you. There's no greatness without opposition. You don't find your strength in easy seasons. You find it in adversity, in the hours no one sees, in the internal battles you fight in silence. The challenges refine you. They reveal what's real and what's fluff. They strip away ego, entitlement, and excuses. And what remains is the version of you that's earned the right to step forward with clarity, purpose, and conviction. Fear will always be there when you're doing something that matters. You'll hear the voice that says you're not ready, you're not smart enough, you're too late, you'll fail. But that voice doesn't get the final word. You do. Every time you move forward despite that voice, you weaken its power. You prove to yourself that fear doesn't make decisions. You do. That's where confidence comes from. Not from the absence of fear, but from acting anyway. The people who rise don't do so because they're fearless. They rise because they feel the fear and still answer the call. They show up scared. They show up uncertain. They show up tired, but they show up. And in doing so, they begin to reshape who they are. Each time you face what scares you, you unlock a little more of your potential. That version of you you're trying to become, that person only exists on the other side of fear. Challenges don't block your path. They are the path. The ones who succeed aren't the ones who had it easiest. They're the ones who develop the strength to carry the weight, because the dream will ask for more than you expected. It will stretch your patience, break your routines, expose your flaws, and demand growth in places you didn't think needed it. That's what makes the achievement meaningful. If it didn't cost something, it wouldn't mean anything. It's not supposed to be comfortable. That uncomfortable tension you feel before stepping into the unknown is the price of elevation. That moment of hesitation, of doubt, of internal chaos, that's the invitation to rise. That's your calling asking, will you grow or will you retreat? And every time you choose growth, even through fear, even through pain, even through resistance, you become more equipped for the life you say you want. The truth is simple, but not easy. The life you want, the strength you seek, the impact you're meant to have, it's all hidden behind effort, discomfort, fear, and resistance. And that's exactly why it's worth it. You don't become who you're meant to be by avoiding the hard things. You become that person by walking straight into them. Yes, it's going to be hard. Yes, you'll want to quit. You'll fall. You'll doubt. You'll wonder if it's even worth it. But if you keep showing up, if you stay in motion, if you take imperfect steps, if you trust the process more than the outcome, you will change. Not overnight, not effortlessly, but completely. The challenges you face are not here to destroy you. They're here to reveal you, to develop the courage, the discipline, the fire you didn't know you had. The hard path is not a mistake. It's not the wrong road. It's the one that turns potential into power. So stop waiting for it to get easier. Stop looking for the shortcut. Take the step, speak the truth, do the work, because it's supposed to be hard. And that's the exact reason you're supposed to do it.